It is f***ing freezing. Hi, my name's Peter, and this is my hometown of Zwolle, the Netherlands. With a train in the background, that's some quality. Excellent production value right there. And according to this sign, it is hip and dynamic, and I'm leaving. Who walks completely off frame. Can you see how white those treetops are? It's crazy cold. It hasn't been snowing, that's just frost. Why am I doing this? Shut up! I'm trying to record a video. I'm going to the one place everybody tells me is so much better than anywhere else. The land of the rising sun, and hopefully a little bit more sunnier than here, Japan. And now I'm going inside because it's way too cold.
But why Japan? Is Japan really that much better than the Netherlands? I mean, can you ever get enough from stroopwafels, getting your bike stolen, and gezellig? No, you can't. And don't you dare tell me otherwise. However, have you ever noticed how Japan is portrayed in the media? It is either this extremely exotic place full of strange and weird people, or it is the technological metropolis of the future, or it is the complete opposite and it is the promised land sent by God himself. In medieval maps, Asia is even portrayed as the Garden of Eden. That's how far back this goes. Orientalism. Obviously, all of these stories are completely wrong. Japan is just a country, like any country, with its own set of problems. The declining birth rate, the emptying of the countryside, and the insane work conditions, just to name a few. Japan is just kinda normal, like everybody else, but this is based on my own assumptions, and I like to test my own biases, so I'm going to Japan for science? But Peter, you say, that sounds like a kind of reason to go to Japan. There's so much more to the country. And you're right. I was getting to it. Samurai. They're pretty cool. I'm not ashamed to admit that one of the breakthrough reasons why I decided to go on an exchange to Japan was the show Shogun. There are so many cultural things from feudal Japan still left in Japan, and I'm all for it. I love the history behind the samurai, and I want to know more, I want to see more, maybe visit a temple, do a tea ceremony, or experience traditional theater. I wouldn't call myself a history buff or anything, because I really don't know anything else besides common knowledge, but damn, doesn't that make me more interested in guys with swords on horses? What can I say? I'm just a dude. And as you might have guessed from my last video, I'm kind of an information sponge, so throw all of that knowledge to me and I'll slurp it up like a bowl of brain soba. Now my next point might be something that you have never heard of before, and in that case, I'm glad I could teach you something. Japan has a lot of martial arts that are still widely practiced. These martial arts are often still drenched in tradition, history, and they say they keep them alive because it trains your spirit and develops character or some shit. But I personally really believe that it is mostly because there is beauty in maintaining history and tradition on its own. It doesn't have to be practical because there's beauty in the act itself. I've been practicing Kendo lately, and by the way, shout out to Let's Ask Shogo for explaining me how to tie a obi and a hakama, because I could not figure that shit out on my own. My string is showing. No, don't look at me. I'd really like to experience a dojo in Japan. Now, I realize that in the Netherlands, hierarchy in society is kind of non-existent. You can always kind of speak your mind, and that is very much appreciated in the Netherlands, where if a boss needs to make a decision, they will always call for a meeting with all of their fellow employees before making the decision, whereas in other cultures that is a lot less practiced. Here in the Netherlands, your opinion is often expected even though it's never been asked, and when you break the hierarchy to speak your mind, that is often not offensive. Whereas especially in like Japanese martial arts, this hierarchy is very strict, and you are absolutely supposed to do what your higher-ups tell you. I believe that in Japan, this is a lot stricter than in Kendo in the Netherlands. So I might hate that, I might love that, I have no idea, but I want to experience that for myself. These reasons are great, but you can also do this on a longer vacation. Why go for such a long time? I've been a student throughout all of Corona time, and I've had a little bit of study delay because of that. I decided I wanted to take the opportunity to really meet people and feel what it's like to be in your 20s and experiencing what life has to offer. There is one thing that my fellow exchange students always tell me when they come back: how many friends they made along the way and how important the things that they experienced are to them as a person. And it might be one of the most important things that they've done in their lives, period. I want to experience that as well. Being a student in Corona time was very lonely at times, and I don't feel like I've gotten out of my student time what I wanted to. In many ways, I feel like I missed out on a lot of things. And now that my student years are coming to an end and it seems like the world is burning around us, I want to step out of my comfort zone and experience something authentic and bring something positive. Now, you could ask, is an exchange necessary for that? And no, it is not. However, I had the opportunity, I had the means to work and save up for this insanely expensive endeavor, and that was kind of all I needed. Pair that with an already existing interest in Japan and a few of my classmates coming back with super positive experiences, and that's it, flight booked, I'm going, bitches. The last thing really is something that you cannot do in a short time period. In the public eye, at least to me, cultural differences are often exaggerated, especially with Japan. And for example, oh, in Japan you need to do this specifically or people get really upset or some shit. And while all of these things have some truth in it, it also instills a lot of anxiety in people when they want to go to Japan. And as if all Japanese people are all judging and you need to be super careful all of the time. And even though there are definitely cultural differences and a few very big ones as well, and you should absolutely respect the culture of the country that you're going to, I do want to experience what the cultural bridges are between Dutch people and Japanese people instead of what is so incredibly different. And this is something that you can only really experience if you're somewhere for a longer time. And hey, if this is something that you're interested in too, consider subscribing. This kind of segues into what I want to do with this channel. I want to make videos about the stories, experiences, and humans that I meet and find that show an authentic experience. Some wacky shit, some really based shit, and everything in between. And give my own Peter spin to it. You know, a little bit of that secret ingredient. Even though I'm still very much figuring out editing, pacing, thumbnails, scripting, kind of everything concerning YouTube. If you've come back after the last few videos, hey, I'm glad that you're here. And if that wasn't reason enough for you, cats. Look at them. Ah, now you have no choice but to like and subscribe to see what will happen when I'm there. You've been tricked.